They call themselves beginners. That term indicates one is just starting out. Hardly the case with this talent pool amassed today. The drivers will test their nerve and skills as they get ready for round 10 at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Circuit in the Absolute Beginners IndyCar League in the Dallara IR-18 IndyCar. Coming at you live from the Buckeye State. Welcome back for another GSRC presentation. I'm your host today, Sean Ambrose, and in the chair next to me, Dawson Never Say Die Brock, in the director's chair over there, the doctor, Amjad Yaman, armed with cameras located, aim, zoom, and focused by GSRC's camera guru, Dougie Beard. Over the next few minutes, we'll get you up to speed with the Absolute Beginners Indy League and what they have in store for us today. But race fans, last time we were with you at Texas Motor Speedway, and Andrew Kinsella led a dominant charge to victory. With 3 races to go in this inaugural season, it got him back in the championship hunt. Henry Bennett, now looking over his shoulder just a bit, will be sure to try and increase his lead in the championship here on the road today. But this isn't any track. This is Mid-Ohio, where a little patience and a lot of skill will go a long way. Dawson, tell the fans how long they have to go at Mid-Ohio.
Well, we're located just outside of beautiful Lexington, Ohio, at one of America's premier road racing facilities. Now, the official name is the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and since opening in 1962, it's been refurbished a couple times. Now, today, the layout that we are on is a 13-turn, 2.2-mile-long course. It's a nice blend here of fast, medium, and slow corners, a couple of long straightaways, and a lot of elevation change. So this is a track that you're going to see a lot of different schemes, and drivers are going to have to make sure that their cars are set up to handle every aspect of this track. Now, the daunting Turn 1, a roller coaster series of S's known as Madness, and then conclude their lap at what seems like a 360-degree carousel. A lot of different racing lines to go through there, so plenty of racing action, side-by-side passing opportunities. Now let's get an idea of just exactly what Mid-Ohio is like and take a lap around in the IR-18.
Alright, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC DW12, so let's do a lap around Mid-Ohio. Turn 1 takes an incredible amount of commitment and precision. Expect a few drivers to understeer wide out of here over the course of a race. Then comes the run to the keyhole, which is a popular place for overtakes. Even though the entry is uphill, it'll be easy to outbrake yourself. Drivers overtake into the inside just slide off into the gravel all the time. Try your best to square off the exit because we're now onto the longest acceleration zone of the track. Straighten out the little kink in the middle of the backstretch and then line yourself up for China Beach. This is where you're going to see the vast majority of passes take place, but the way the track switches back into madness means you can defend from either side. Watch out for the crest, which can cause a big push on exit. And then make sure to set up each subsequent corner with your line. You'll continue to weave back and forth through the S's, but it's the braking into the jump that will prove the most difficult. You're trying to turn the car as you're slowing it up, and then on top of it, you have to find traction just when the car gets light. Finally, you're climbing through Thunder Valley. Hug the Armco on the right and do your best to hit your turn in for corner 11. That leads directly into the carousel, which is ideally taken as a double apexer. Line the car up with as much of a straight shot as possible, then ease onto the throttle, and hopefully you've finished a lap around Mid-Ohio.
Back from a bad, fast lap around Mid-Ohio, we now take you to what is the championship standings. In the Absolute Beginners Indy League, there are 2 championships. One for the drivers and the second for teams. And the teams are, of course, limited to no more than just 2 drivers. But let's take a swim through those championship standings now. There's Henry Bennett right there on top for maximum attack, 278 points. Watch out, though. Kinsella, though, with a victory at Texas, pulls himself up into second, gets by Schwitter and Quinn, who both drop. Now, of course, Schwitter just a point back, so going to be a good battle, but I don't see Schwitter here today, and that's certainly going to cost him valuable points. Liam Quinn's here, and he's got a chance to possibly pass Jan Schwitter before this race is over. Richard Tam back there in 5th, holding station, 120 points out of 1st. Let's look at the team standings now here, and it is going to be maximum attack at the top Bennett and Ronco both here today. Both look to get good points and keep that 46-point lead, maybe more coming out of here, out of over second, and Petronas Racing Team, Don Schwitter, Alec Boca, holding down that spot in second. Sea Bottom Racing, Johan van der Velde and Michelle Rugenbrink, they're in third, and then you've got Adrenaline Motorsports because of that big win for Kinsella last week. They move up into fourth. That's him and Adam Blocker, and Team Talent, Osman Esteti and Liam Quinn, they're in fifth. So there are your point standings. Dawson, why don't you take us through what we got going here today in our road race details?
Right, well, we're on the home stretch here. This is round 10 of 12, so only 3 races to go, including this one. So then points that Sean was just talking about become very, very crucial to make sure that drivers get every single point out of this. Now today we're going to go 45 laps around Mid-Ohio, open setups as usual. Now we're expecting guys to make one stop. They can go about 25 laps on a tank. They get 10 push-to-passes, even though we have no way of tracking who uses them and when. And the incident cap, well, it says 20, but in fact, we get word that that is not in effect today. If you can get 20 incidents around here and survive, apparently you get a pass. So no incident cap here today.
I believe what was specifically said was if you get 20 incidents and you manage to survive, then you do deserve to finish the race. So listen, 12 cars here today, great track. They're getting around here very, very quick. As qualifying is getting underway. I mean, just over a minute. I think it was 106. A 106.1 was the fastest in practice by Henry Bennett. And there's Dennis Garrison now on track. I think they're all right now coming around for their first time laps as we watch Garrison make his way through Thunder Valley, now down through the chute. Let's see what kind of time Dennis can roll in here. He was awful fast in practice. I believe third fast in practice. Oh, and he loses it. A little heavy on the braking there in the carousel. That's going to cost him. Andreas Eck now on screen. Bennett going to come around with the first lap. That puts him on the pole of a 106.1.
That lockup really hurt Garrison. He only comes in at a 107.5. We know he's much capable of going a lot faster than that.
Yeah, definitely is. Definitely is. We'll see what we can get. Here's Team Ronco. Ronco, another one of those drivers that was very fast in practice. We'll see what kind of qualifying pace he's got here. This will be the big passing opportunity today here, Dawson. This run all the way down to China Beach. Ronco able to get the car turned in through there really good. Things looking pretty well here, halfway through the lap. Most drivers coming in, completing their first laps now. Richard Tam just came by for his second one. We continue to focus on Ronco here. Out of the carousel. Cross the start-finish line. And that was a 106.798. That'll put him up to fifth. That bumps Sarah Dub down to sixth. Here's Quinn. Now Quinn does not have a lap in yet. Still 5 minutes, 40 seconds left to go. Andreas Eck just went to second with a 106.3. So Henry Bennett only one lap. He's parked it. He's still 0.2 of a second to the good. There's Andrew Kinsella, our winner from Texas Motor Speedway. We'll look for a good run here through the speed trap. And here we go, China Beach. Already see that rubber on the track for practice that they've laid in. Great run through there for Kinsella. He was about middle of the pack in practice. with these open setups. Of course, every driver has a little bit different idea of how they want this IR-18 to feel, Dawson.
Yeah, absolutely. With a track like Mid-Ohio, you got a lot of twisty bits and corners. You might want that downforce, but then again, there's also the straightaways where a lot of passing opportunities, maybe to go a little less on that downforce. So guys are gonna have to find that fine line as Kinsella goes to a 106.4. Not enough to get him past Dennis Garrison, but not a bad result.
No, I mean, really, a first to fifth only separated by what, 4/10 of a second. So yeah, Jamie Wilson just getting his first lap in. Jamie goes up to 9th. Wilson on his second lap now with Michael Herman on screen, the Californian. Herman's got 1 lap in, 109.5. There's Jamie Wilson. We'll pick him up. Jamie navigating his way now into the S's. Wilson's first lap of 107.2. Try and squeeze another second out of it. He can maybe get himself up in the 7th or 6th.
See, Jamie did pretty well in practice. This time I was expecting something, a couple more attempts up. Let's see. There you go, 106.5.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly, Dawson. And in the 6th. That'll be a good starting spot there for him. That looks like, though, the man to beat is not going to be beaten. It looks like Henry Bennett going to be victorious there. Now, they do get 3 laps, so a few drivers still with a chance. Bennett actually just getting his 3rd one in, and it'll be a 106.118 is as good as it gets. Jamie Wilson with the best chance to try and topple that right now. He could just pick up about 4/10 of a second. And the Leisingfeld IR-18 Wilson, the UK&I driver, just trying to squeeze this a little bit more out of this carousel. What kind of a run can he get? Gonna scream through the line. No, a 106.666. Not good enough. Now, Ali Quokka is getting his 3rd lap in right now. Quokka down right now, all the way in 10th with a 107.3. Might have went in, made an adjustment. Oh, and he really loses it there, Dawson, doesn't he?
That back end just swirling around. See if he can regather it up and still get a respectable lap in. Yeah, 106.9. That's going to move him up just into 9th. So not a bad job there for Ali Quokka to improve on his time.
All right, Dawson. Well, I'll tell you what, that's going to be qualifying for everybody. Let's go to our starting grid. Get these in here real quick. I'll take the first 6, and you can take the last. Henry Bennett on the pole, a 106.118. Great qualifying effort for him. And Andreas Eck was right there, just hundredths of a second away. He'll start 2nd. Timo Ronco, 3rd, and Dennis Garrison just outside. Look at the spread between them. Just 5 100ths of a second separate them. Row 3, Andrew Kinsella and Jamie Wilson will complete the 3rd row.
Getting in row 4, Liam Quinn going to start 7th, and Sarah Dove in that pink Force India machine going to start 8th. Ali Quokka, Richard Tam going to make up the next row, and then to follow it all out, the Herman row. We're going to go 11th and 12th with Josh and Michael Herman.
Well, they wanted to keep it in the family back there. No problem with that. All right, so now we've talked about qualifying and points, and we haven't talked about the weather, and that's where I'm a little concerned because you know what? On track right now, it's pretty warm out there. 106 degrees It's rising. It's clear. It's only 79 degrees outside, but that track temperature has got me a little bit of concern, especially with a north wind at about 10 miles an hour and gusting at times. This could get a little slick, a little scary at times, especially back through Madness and getting yourself down into China Beach, which always an overtaking opportunity there, but can get pretty slick. And if you miss that entry, you're off into the beach with all the patrons there with their umbrellas and lawn chairs.
Well, yeah, we saw Ali Kolk get loose in qualifying, and I think that you're right on with that. The track is slick, and it's going to take a little bit to get that rubber down, maybe grip it back up. But the 107, that is not cold by any means.
Drivers start to grid up now. Dawson, very short formation lap here.
Yep, they're just starting right outside of the last turn, and then they will be down and away. So when that pace car rolls off, you got to get ready to go, get all your switches set up, and get a move on.
Well, I think for our pole sitter, Henry Bennett, it's going to be all about breakaway from the pack here. Try not to get in any trouble with Eck or Ronco or even Garrison. Continue to try and distance himself from Kinsella. I think that'll be the key for Bennett in this race. Of course, you got to stay out of trouble, avoid any issues with lack of focus, but not something we generally see from Bennett. He's been solid all season, Dawson. Here we go. The roof pace car is pulling away. As I said, this very, very short formation lap. That roof is going to pull off, and everybody's going to get ready to go. Starting with Henry Bennett. Pace car's off, and there goes Bennett. The green flag is out, and we're away here at Mid-Ohio in the Absolute Beginners IndyCar League. Bennett going to make it to turn one first. Andreas Eck on the outside, taking the long way around. It's still Bennett at the front, Eck chasing. They're still side by side all the way down into the hairpin here.
Ooh. A little bit of contact. Ronco getting loose farther back.
Eck gets the spot here at the front. Eck with a great start. Now they get through China Beach. Now it gets tricky here, Dawson.
Boy, Andres Eck doing a great job. Now Henry Bennett under pressure from Dennis Garrison to lose another spot.
Garrison got to be careful here. Ali Cuoco losing the spot. Oh, and Ronco's off the track. Oh, we'll get a replay here in just a moment. Going to it now. Big trouble for Ronco.
Tell you what, right there is that right-hander in that uphill. It's one of them elevation changes that we were talking about. Grabs that, just comes off. The car doesn't settle right.
Yeah, it was just before him that Ali Cuoco had trouble, and then it was followed up by Ronco. Cuoco got tipped. You see Kinsella going by there. So trouble for a couple of drivers here early. Quinn battling Sarah Dove as they head to China Beach. Dove's going to lose that spot to Quinn. Quinn already charging up through the field here. Looks to go catch Kinsella. Well, Dawson, we got a couple laps in here. A bit of a scary start, but I think everybody's got it sorted out. Ronco is not back in yet. Still sitting in the pit.
If we go back to that, like, just talking about that start, Henry Bennett, he hesitated and waited. I thought he went, but he didn't really go, and you know, it kind of messed it up and gave Andres Eck a great opportunity to get past and to get this lead. And boy, Andres doing a great job leading this race so far.
Yeah, Eck is starting to pull away here just a bit from Bennett. Bennett's got his hands full with Dennis Garrison. Garrison had great pace and practice and a great qualifying effort. Is all over him right now and pushing hard.
I'm sure Bennett would have loved to be in that clean air and just run his own pace, but now you're in catch mode and you gotta try and beat Eck through a couple corners, and boy, just not the way Bennett wanted to start this race out.
Sad to report from the pit garage that Timu Ronco has retired the car. And so one casualty here early as Andreas Eck comes across the start-finish line. He is still your leader here, 4 laps into this 45-lap race. And this will get exciting, trust me. Bennett not going to give up the quest here. He's actually starting to hold that gap on Garrison. Garrison not making as much of it in advance. Richard Tam picking up a couple of spots actually back there. Tam just getting by Sarah Dove. I think Sarah had a little bit of trouble. Yep, we've got the replay. Sarah going to have trouble in the keyhole. About halfway through there, the car gets really loose on her. Luckily, it didn't snap back on her and got back into traffic. She's able to save the car, get it back up on the track cleanly, and not pick up any damage, Dawson.
And in the meantime, Liam Quinn has gotten around Andrew Kinsella. Kinsella's been having troubles with his car.
Oh, he's struggling still.
Boy, Kinsella, it looked like just the car was loose, and he ended up losing that position. Just got to let them tires coming back to temp.
Well, just behind him, he's got Richard Tam. Tam has really been on the charge since we got started. Snoopy's on top of his doghouse there, and he is flying forward. Picked up 3 spots here already. Ooh, and that was Ollie Cuoco behind him running off.
Really ran deep into that corner.
Ooh. Yeah, Tam. Here comes Tam. He's getting a shot at him in the China Beach. Not close enough.
Took a good line.
Maybe the S's will sort this out a little bit. Kinsella just has to hang on, try and keep focus here. He's an excellent driver. On ovals, on road. We've seen him ply his craft in the Lionheart IndyCar Series, which we see here on GSRC on Wednesday nights. Tam holding station right now. And listen, as long as Cuoco can keep focus here, this could become a 3-car battle. Not so much at the moment. So I'll tell you what, let's jump back up front. Let's look at Andreas Eck still in command. But that lead has shrunk just a bit. It was well up over, I believe, about 1.5 seconds a little while ago. It's now down to less than a second as Henry Bennett has seemed to close things up. Maybe that pressure behind from Dennis Garrison is making him just a little bit faster, Dawson.
Yeah, you know, when you're stuck in the sandwich, you got somebody chasing you and you're chasing somebody else. You kind of got to manage on what you're doing. You know, try not to look in your mirror too much, but look ahead, and you got to manage everything. You got a lot going on around you.
Yeah, and you know what? Early on here, this is a track where you could certainly beat up those tires and get them really hot. Already a track temperature that we talked about a little while ago, pretty warm out here today. It's getting warmer, and the fall off on these tires could be a lot greater than imagined if they're pushing too hard. Now, we said the fuel window about 25 laps. That's all fine and good as long as you're not smoking those Firestones on the IR-18.
Yeah, and I think a big play into how these tires are going to act today is that braking. You know, I've seen a lot of guys get lockups and drive them in really deep. You know, I've seen Henry Bennett do it even a couple times here. But so you got to manage it. Make sure your brake bias isn't too far one way or the other, and make sure you're taking care of the tires.
Jamie Wilson back here in 4th, actually starting to find a little bit better pace now, Dawson. Starting to close in on Garrison just a bit. It's 1.4 seconds.
Yeah, but Jamie's kind of been a nice surprise, you know, coming out of practice. We knew he had speed. Gritted up 6th, and it's now up to 4th. I mean, other than Richard Tam, he would be your big mover coming up 2 spots.
Certainly a legitimate shot at catching the podium here. You know, plays his cards right. Jamie could be battling for a win. The pit stops will, honestly, the pit stops will balance the power in this race. Pretty little tricky entry to pit road here as you fly out of the carousel and onto it. We've seen drivers make mistakes with getting the braking right down into there. You have any trouble in a pit stop here today, it's going to cost you your chance at a podium or a victory. So Eck, Bennett, Garrison, Wilson, all going to have to mind their P's and Q's as long as they continue to open the gap behind them, with Lee and Quinn currently leading that gap there in 5th. Kinsella still dealing with Richard Tam in his mirror as they try and go catch Quinn. Quinn, though, has just had really Dawson, his pace has been steady. Very, very close times here over the opening 9 laps of this race.
Yeah, the consistency. I tell you what, that's a very good sign of a driver who's in the zone, hitting your brake markers, turning in, just consistent laps. Tell you what, that's a good sign of a consistent driver and not one who's, you know, searching for time or trying to make stuff up. So the car's going to be on the road and pretty safe.
Yeah, and the field's still pretty well bunched up. Really only a couple of cars that have kind of fallen off the pace, and only because they had a little bit of trouble. And that's Joshua Herman and Michael Herman find themselves back in typical 11. Of course, we mentioned before, Timu Ronco, after his incident, decided to go ahead and retire the car today. So we still have 11 on track, still all on the lead lap. You know what? Until anybody pits, it's still anybody's race. So even the Hermans still have a shot back here, although they're losing time and they're going to want to get faster, like maybe Henry Bennett, who just had the fastest lap around that last time by. It wasn't the best of the race, but he is starting to just maybe get a little bit of an edge on Andres Eck.
I mean, going into it, Eck practiced at a 106.6 and Henry Bennett was in the 105.9s. So we expected Bennett to, you know, really kind of stomp away almost. But boy, Andres Eck has done a great job at finding that pace and just leading this race and keeping Henry Bennett. I think if I was Henry Bennett, I wasn't expecting anybody to really challenge me and match my pace. But you got Dennis Garrison and Andres both doing a great job sticking with Henry Bennett, your points leader, and he's going to have to earn this win today.
Eck has been on the iRacing servers for about as long as I can remember, certainly since I've been on, and I've been on a while now, and he shows up to races and generally wins. That's what he does. But he's got some tough company behind him. He's really, really going to have to be on point here as they continue to hunt him down. Bennett breaking a little bit deeper into the keyhole there and gets a little bit closer. So, you know, Eck's not got it all laid out on a platter for him. He is going to have a lot of work to do here in the next few laps.
You know, and you mentioned this earlier, the name of this series is kind of misleading. Absolute beginners. These guys aren't beginners. They know what they're doing. Eck, Bennett, Garrison, all with very high IR-18s. I mean, they know their way around this IR-18.
Let's look at the battle for 8th right now. Sarah Dove trying to get by Ali Cuoca and try to get this position. Sarah joining us today. Oh, right on the gearbox there, Cuoca. Sarah joining us today. She had a choice to make, either the MX-5 with the boys over at MWT or the IndyCar here today, and well, she chose well, I think. Right now having a really good run here, back at 9th, and now battling Cuoca for position.
Ooh, Cuoca.
Watch out! Oh, nice save by Cuoco. Good job by Sarah. Just getting on the binders there a little bit. Not so much that she looped the car around. Able to get out of the keyhole clean. We'll go on board with her. Here's the run up to the keyhole. You'll see that car start to slide out. She does a good job of getting on the binders there, keeping the car under control. And a good job by Cuoco to recover.
So that's a big thing that you see. You know, it's important to recognize that, and Sarah did a great job, and not only recognizing it, but then giving him plenty of room to save his car. And a great job by Ali Cuoco to regroup and not lose too much time.
All right, Quinn. Now having to worry a little bit here over his shoulder. There's Andrew Kinsella. Kinsella finding a little bit of consistency. Lap time starting to come down just a hair. Lighter fuel load helps that as well. We're now 13 laps into the race, so they've used about a half a tank based on our fuel estimates. Kinsella just not able to get in the toe there out of the speed trap.
He's got a good run here.
Yeah, he does. Well, let's see what Kinsella can do here with Quinn. That'll be a race to get to the carousel and get that great exit off of it. Don't forget, Richard Tam still behind them, ready to pick it up. Kinsella needs a good exit here. It is a good one. Gonna certainly pull it in a lot closer, coming through one. Will the keyhole be this opportunity that Kinsella's been looking for? Quinn keeping it nice and tidy down on the inside, right there near the rumble strips. Dawson, they still continue to fight in front of them. Eck still in the lead, but it's still under a second. Henry Bennett back there stalking and, you know, thinking about what it would be like to be back in the lead of this race.
Every time we come back to this battle, it's about the same. You know, I mean, times switch a little bit. Maybe Bennett's gained a little bit of time, but it's the same picture every time. And I, you know, have every reason to believe that I don't think the pass is going to be made on the track. I think it's going to be made in the pits.
I agree with you. I'm starting to think that way myself. With the way this race is going right now, that sounds like, yeah. And again, that makes that pit entry here so much more important because, again, going back to what I said before, if you mess that up, man, that's it. Game over.
Yeah, and you can easily gain or lose a whole second. I mean, last lap times for these three guys, all at a 107.8. Every single one of them. So talk about being all on the same page, all on that same pace. Yeah, I think definitely looking at that pit stop, and maybe that changes how you take your pit stop. Do you take it early? Do you take it late? Do you take that short pit, get them fresher tires sooner, try and make up that time?
Yeah. Oh, here we go on the replay. Kinsella making the move there on Quinn, finally getting that done.
And I think, you know, we've been
sorry, go ahead, Dawson.
Yeah, we've been talking about three cars here. Jamie Wilson has definitely made up some ground, and he's right there, so don't count him out either.
Yeah, no, he's the fourth car back there, and I'll tell you what, it's been a slow, steady climb for Wilson, but it's been a good one. And I'll tell you what, I really, really like Jamie's chances for a podium here. All about keeping the car clean. Well, guess what? He's done that. The car looks great. You could almost cover this top four with a blanket now. I mean, again, Wilson back there putting the work in. Nobody really seems to want to make a move yet here, though. I guess that goes back to what we were talking about a couple of moments ago when we said that, the pit stop may be where the positions are made today. I think Garrison is probably, of these four, probably the most aggressive right now, as he seems to be the one that is breaking deeper more and looking for more opportunities. It hasn't helped. He's still behind Bennett.
Look at where Jamie is right now. He just put down a 107.5, and that was the fastest lap out of this top four. And he's right in this picture. Boy, he was right there, and now just lost a little bit of time right when I started talking about him.
Great. Yeah, throw in the commentator's jinx there, Dawson.
Yep. But we're about 3 laps away from when that pit window opens. Lap 20, you can bring it in and make it.
Yeah,
Dennis Garrison.
Dennis with a little mistake there. Ooh, is he going to lose his spot because of that?
Looks like he's got the car back under him.
Jamie Wilson, though, seeing opportunity there. Wilson still looking aggressive, getting through the keyhole. Garrison looks to pull away, though, into the speed trap. Sorry, Dub just picked up another position over Liam Quinn. So she's continuing to move up the field here.
Quinn is about to get under attack by Ali Cuoca.
Yeah, let's get the replay. Oh, okay, well, we'll stay live. Quinn actually struggling right now. Cuoca getting by. Sorry, Dove had get. Yeah. Now we got a replay of Dove.
Let's see what happened.
Sarah's going to have an off right here. That car comes around and oof, well, she did a really great job of keeping it from hitting that inside Armco barrier. That would have been terrible.
Just like that, we have a 3-car battle.
Yeah, she's still in the fight, though. And she almost lost it there out of 13. And none of the drivers yet in this field have come in for a stop. We've got just over 26 laps to go. We haven't quite hit the halfway point yet. Let's see who steps out and hits that pit road first. I'll tell you up front, it's going to be follow the leader. I don't know if Garrison or Wilson opt to stay out. Maybe Bennett to try and maybe get, I don't know, just a couple less laps on a set of tires. Maybe that's his advantage to try and pass Eck later in the race. But this will be interesting to see what these guys decide to do here over the next 5 or 6 laps.
Well, yeah, you think if you pit right away on 20, the advantage is you're going to have the tires. Your disadvantages are you're going to have to take a full tank of fuel, which you already have fuel in, so I don't think fuel's that big a deal, but you're not going to be running them laps on that light fuel. And I don't know what way drivers are going to be leaning, if they want that tire or they want that light car now. So
now, here's what our leaders have to deal with. All right, it's Michael Herman right in front of him. Now, Herman can pull off and get out of the way, or he can stay in his racing line and already making it tough for Eck. Oh, and Eck is around! Oh, no! Eck is around and into the tire barrier. Oh, no.
He's going to have to bring that in right away now.
Bennett to the lead and the replay. Yeah, he just maybe to the power off of that hill there, gets to the power a little bit too quick. Oh, and that just ends in tears. Bennett goes to the lead. That puts Garrison up to second, Jamie Wilson up to third. There's that podium that Wilson was looking for, albeit was probably not looking for it that way, Dawson.
No, and Act now on pit road, gonna have to take that front clip off. Get a new one on. That shouldn't take too long. There you go, new front clip, and he's away.
Well, not the way he wanted to get into the pit, to be honest with you. That's going to really hurt his chances here today. Bennett just barely hanging on to this lead right now. Garrison still a tough customer today. And Wilson is now fighting for a win up here. He's not our biggest mover of the race, but he's certainly one of our good movers. Andrew Kinsella's in. Kinsella bringing his car. This would be the first scheduled pit stop. Making his way to his box now. Car's up on the jacks. Fuel going in.
Down and away.
Kinsella,
He's gonna
yep,
slot out just after Michael Herman. And Herman brought his car down to pit. Now Liam Quinn down and away too.
And out of turn one he goes. Back on his way down to the keyhole. Herman on at the speed trap lets Kinsella get by. So Kinsella get back out on track, slot back into 7th. And it'll be Sarah Dove about 11 seconds up the track from him. She's still holding on to 6th. At the front, it's still Henry Bennett in command of this race. Dennis Garrison a little over half a second behind him. Then you've got Jamie Wilson having a legendary drive here so far today. Boy, I can hear the rubber just flying off of these tires on track. I'm thinking if you haven't been in yet, you want a pit stop right now.
We'll see Dawson, if one of these top 3 maybe take it.
That's what I was about to ask you, if you thought maybe one of them might go.
Nope.
Not that time. Not that time. We are just past the halfway point of the race, so obviously the pit window is open and ready. Looks like the first of those lead the charge right now that have taken the scheduled pit stop. That's going to be Andrew Kinsella. Ali Cuoca's in. Cuoca rolling down the pit lane now. Down and not quite away yet. Oh, Ali Cuoca with a possible penalty here. He's still stuck in the spot in the box. Yep, I'm thinking he was too hot on entry. That looks to be maybe a 15-second penalty. Cuoca finally going to get away, but boy, here comes Henry Bennett out of the carousel right now, onto the front stretch, completing his lap.
Richard Tam gonna bring it in.
Very slow pit road speed here on that limiter. Got to be careful not to speed. That's surely going to cost Cuoca. That goes back to what you talked about early, Dawson, about the race being won or lost in the pit. Andrew Kinsella going to pass Tam now. That'll put him back up to 5th. Sardove still hanging on to 4th place. And she'll still need to stop. But she is that barrier between Kinsella and the rest of the field right now. Wilson, Garrison, Bennett, your top 3, all still have to come down the pit lane.
They all stay out yet again. Tell you what, Wilson got really loose earlier on that lap, but was able to keep it together. Just lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, Kinsella running very comparable lap times right now. The last time around, though, it was Dennis Garrison with the really quick lap. He was about 2/10 second than our 2/10 faster than our leader, Henry Bennett. So Garrison here late in the run seems to be the driver with the better car.
You know, we haven't seen Garrison make too many mistakes, whether that be lockups or getting loose. So his tires could very well possibly just be a little bit better than Bennett's right now.
Could be. Could be. Yeah, and they're certainly playing the long game here, pushing it everybody in. Here comes Sarah Dove. Now she is just now getting out of 11, now down into the carousel. She's going to go in too. So follow the leader right there. It'll be time to pick up Kinsella and see where he's at on track. Kinsella in the carousel now.
Garrison and Bennett.
Oh,
wow.
Fight out of the pit. Garrison on the hammer. He wasn't having any of that.
That's 5/10 in the pits. Just a little extra for Bennett, and that's the difference.
Boy, what a battle there. Jeez. And they all 3 of them are going to get out just over 6 seconds ahead of Andrew Kinsella, who's back and forth all by himself now. Well, that mixes things up a bit. As everybody's completed their pit stops, why don't we go ahead and run through the field here, Dawson? Take a look at Dennis Garrison there. We're just getting that spot with the race off of pit road. It was a bold move and a great race strategy for him. That drops Henry Bennett, the 007, back to 2nd. And then you got to go back to 3rd. Jamie Wilson, who we just continued to be enamored with the kind of work he's done today. He's on the podium right now. And then you got to go all the way back to Kinsella, who's a good 6.5 seconds. And Richard Tam, who's had a decent race, to be honest with you. He's our big mover of the race. He's picked up 5 spots here in the top 5 now. Started in the top 10. Now he's in the top 5. And Andreas Eck, who, well, let's face it, that pit stop. Trouble for Garrison. What happened? Here's the replay. Oh, and it can go away all that quickly. God, the car just looked like it got a little wicked on him there, didn't it?
Yeah, and that was another one of them elevation changes that you see around here at Mid-Ohio.
Boy, what a great job of keeping it out of the barrier. So just like that, Henry Bennett's going to go back to the lead. We're on board with Bennett, and you see Bennett seeing his opportunity there in front of him, hoping that car didn't snap back. Dennis doing a great job of controlling that car and getting on the binders and not wrecking it all up. It keeps him on the podium. Bennett, though, now going to look to try and pull away from Jamie Wilson, which hasn't always been an easy task. Wilson has been up to the task here at Mid-Ohio today.
I think one thing we haven't seen go together is Jamie Wilson and mistakes. So far, knock on wood, I'm not going to, none of that, but yeah, no, Wilson in a great position.
Was that confirmed wood?
Yes, that No, that is wood.
All right, okay.
I wouldn't risk it. Nope, that is pure wood, maple, I believe.
All right, let's go back to 7. Liam Quinn and Sarah Dove. Now, these two, this is not the first time these two have been at it, so this is a revisit of a battle from earlier in the race before the pit stops. And Sarah, you know what? She's had a really good day so far. Had a couple of small mistakes, but well, let's face it, she hasn't been here all season, so trying to get the IR-18 under her and find some pace. And this is an open setup, so you know you wonder how much time she had to work with that. And boy, look at that run that she got through the carousel. She is all over Liam Quinn.
No.
She breaks too deep, too hard. Oh, and Sarah's around. She's going to lose all that time she made up. She's able to get away before Ollie Polka got there. Well, it was fun watching her there in that battle. Who knows? Maybe they'll get back into it again. Quinn's going to have to be solid here over the next 15 laps.
You know, having the majors IndyCar race last week, I know in my split, the European split, the winner was talking and he said, yeah, you know, I knew a couple people who really knew their way and got help. That person was Liam Quinn. He was able to help him out and give him a couple tips on the setup. Tell you what, Liam Quinn really knows his way around this IndyCar. And I mean, maybe he's in 7th right now, but boy, I'll tell you what, I'm sure he has a great setup underneath him.
Yeah, I believe it. Quinn won the Pacific Division at Indy.
Wow.
So Quinn certainly no stranger to the IR-18. Up front, though, Bennett remains under pressure from Jamie Wilson. It's just about 3/4 of a second. Not much to deal with here. As we can officially say, we're into the closing laps of this race. 14 to go. I think 45 laps, just about the right mix here today. Making a great battle to the finish.
At minimum, Wilson just needs to put enough pressure so that Henry Bennett can't relax. He's got to keep him on edge, keep him looking in his mirror. And he's done it so far. He's just got to keep that pressure applied, and maybe get a mistake.
You know, and the one thing we have to contemplate, we haven't even really talked about because we really can't keep track of it, is, all right, so has Jamie Wilson saved his push to passes here? Is he going to get a legitimate shot at Bennett before this thing is over? If he sat on him, yeah, he's going to get a shot. Yeah, that's, boy, I'll tell you what, if there was one thing we could monitor, I would love to be able to know how many how many they're using.
Steve Myers, if Steve Myers is watching, maybe throw that into your next build or something.
Going back to the field, trying to find any really good battles. I've got to be honest with you, they really thinned out once the pit stops got underway, and the best one we still have on track is the one for the lead. So that's great. That's the one you want to watch. Who's going to win this thing? Well, it's going to be up to Henry Bennett and Jamie Wilson right now. Both on the same strategy. Came in same time. Right now, it seems like Bennett is starting to creep away just a little bit, and Jamie Wilson with a little bit of trouble there out of the carousel. Getting through turn 13, a little bit of a slide there on the rear end. Every time you let off there, you lose that momentum. Oh, and Herman gets together with Ali Quokka on track. Quokka able to peel off and get right into the pits. It happens in the carousel. That's Michael Herman there on the inside. Quokka just getting in hot. Car went around. He makes the contact with Herman. And watch him up the hill here.
You know, Herman tries to give him that inside, but Quokka just a little bit too hot, and back end steps out and slides up into him.
We'll go back live to Quokka. Quokka now down in 10th. Boy, I'm sure he would have liked to have gotten more out of this race today. Michael Herman having trouble. He's around on track. Looks like he's going to take the toe into the pits. So, drivers struggling here with just over 10 laps to go. This is where focus and a little bit of patience has to come in. Wilson still on the quest up front to try and take down Henry Bennett. Talk about patience and skill. Wilson's got to be the one to have both right now. And I tell you what, I like what he's doing. He really starting to pick him up here. Look at that run into the carousel. Boy, he had a great entry into the carousel there, Dawson.
Yeah, he didn't. But you just look then, and Henry Bennett kind of walks away on these straights. I don't know if it's more downforce, less downforce, but Wilson, I've been looking at his lines, and you know, I start to think, oh, he's got to make up a lot of time here. Look at how deep he goes into this corner, and then Bennett just kind of goes away. Could be the push to passes. I don't know.
No, it could be. Could be. Yeah,
So,
you said earlier, Bennett, not used to seeing mistakes. Not a word we associate with him. I'll tell you, with the pressure Jamie Wilson's putting on him right now.
Oh yeah.
With 9 laps left to go, and traffic coming up, this is going to be a big factor here for Bennett. You got Ali Quokka, Joshua Herman just in front of him.
Wilson, the lap before, we put on a 107.3. I mean, these are very fast laps. This is nothing to be. This is not too shabby. Very fastest pace we got out on track right now.
Yeah, that's her position right there. Quokka getting by Herman. Here comes our leader. Going to let him go. Bennett able to get through clean. And so does Jamie Wilson. So they caught him in a good spot. Wilson able to keep pace. Another car. Now they'll get to Quokka. I don't think they're going to catch Quokka in a good spot, honestly. Although, I don't know, there's enough distance between them right now. It may hold off until we get back to the start-finish line. Quokka into the carousel here first. We'll get off at turn 13 clean. Here come the leaders. 8 laps to go here at Mid-Ohio with the Absolute Beginners IndyCar League on the Global SimRacing Channel. Great racing out here today. We've seen the lead change several times. Bad luck for Dennis Garrison, who was in command of this race after a tremendous fight off the pit lane. But it's all about Henry Bennett right now being chased by Jamie Wilson.
you what, Garrison, I mean, I'm looking at his laps, and he's been putting down 107.1s. He's got the fastest lap of the race so far at a 106.9. He's really trying to do whatever he can to get back in this.
He really is. Dennis is charging hard, man. I gotta imagine he's still. Well, no, you know what? He's not thinking about that incident anymore, because he's moving forward, and that's what you got to do as a driver, man. You got to have a short memory. Forget about that, move on, and get back to fighting. And Garrison here with 7 laps to go. I mean, it is possible. Jamie Wilson now 1.8 second gap. A lot of work to do.
Yeah, metaphorical toilet. Just flush it. Get rid of it.
I like that.
I've been told that by sports coaches that's the best way. You get next play, flush it down your metaphorical toilet.
I've never had a coach use that with me, and I sure wish one had. I feel less of a person because no one ever shared that with me. But thank you, Dawson, for getting that in there today, man. Our leaders finally able to get by Ali Polka, and it honestly didn't break them up a whole lot. Jamie Wilson's still on the hunt here. Hopefully Garrison will be able to clear Quokka there cleanly without any real delay. If he can pull that off, he still holds out a chance to stay in this battle. 6 laps to go. Wow, Henry Bennett now poured it on. He doesn't like what he sees in the mirror. He got a 106.9. That was a 106.9 flat. So our friend Dennis Garrison going to have to do a lot more than he's doing to catch that. Jamie Wilson can still catch him, though. I tell you what, Jamie has just been rock solid here over these last half a dozen laps or so. Really dialed in.
And I know when you get into this later half and you're trying to pick up time and places, you start to push that car. And Jamie Wilson's made sure he gets up to that line, but not going over it and making a mistake that puts Henry Bennett all by himself. So he's done a great job at pushing this car.
Garrison's still trying to mount a charge back here in third, but still has Ali Quokka in front of him. He's just now getting to him in the keyhole. And I don't think he's going to catch him down the back here either. So Dennis going to have to try and work this out over another lap. Oh, no. Okay. Quokka actually going to move out of the way. Let Garrison go. It's about 2.5 seconds. It might be too little too late, because when they hit the line next time, it'll be 4 to go.
He's going to need Wilson. He's got to be rooting for Wilson right now and get them side by side for a couple corners to really make up that time.
Boy, with all the work that Wilson's put in, it'd almost be a shame not to see him win this race. But I think Bennett knows what he's doing up there right now, and he's keeping Wilson just far enough in the mirror that he doesn't have to worry about him as long as he does what he does, and that is maintain just great race pace around this track today. Still continuing to set really fast laps. His last one was a 107.4. Garrison actually with the fastest lap last time around, and that bodes really well for him to finish on the podium today. Kinsella a little bit too far back to catch him at about 10.5 seconds. Kinsella's had a great race, though, a much better race than he actually had practice pace, so it's not going to be a horrible day for Kinsella. He'll pick up some good points here. He'll stay in the championship hunt. The only problem is we're only going to have just a couple races to go after today. All right, 3 laps to go. It's all about Bennett and Wilson. I pretty much from here out, they've cleared their traffic. See if they have any. They don't have any in front of them here for a while. In fact, they won't have any traffic in front of them at all for the remainder of this race. They're clear. They are clear to fight. Can Jamie Wilson bring it? Dipping into the prime time hours here on a Saturday night over in the UK and I. Both drivers defending their country. Oh, and a bit of slip there for Wilson out of 13. You think Jamie's starting to push a little bit too hard there, Dawson?
I'm sure he's trying to find every ounce of this car. He's looking, and boy, I don't know. He's just getting them runs. The runs out of the corner. That's where he's struggling right now. And Bennett, oh, here you go. He's actually keeping toe and toe with Bennett.
Yeah.
Let's see if he gets into that draft.
Man, you've got to be right up on somebody coming out of the keyhole to really taking advantage of that through the speed trap and down at China Beach. We haven't seen a lot of that today.
But again, yeah, he's definitely pushing the car.
Starting to feel the limits of that IR-18.
Yeah, we were talking about going to that line but not going over it.
All right. Unfurl the white flag and give it to Henry Bennett right now. Jamie Wilson's going to try and take it down with 1 lap to go into turn 1. You just see Wilson just pushing so hard. Just don't know if there's anything left if Bennett can just keep it on track. Garrison still pushing from behind, but it's not enough. He's 2 seconds back. Right here, Wilson's just got to be thinking, you know what, don't give up second. Hang on a second. You've had a great race. The guy in front of you, well, he's the points leader. He's going to be really hard to catch. And even harder to get around and pass. And you don't want to ruin it for both of you. Bennett making his way around to the backside of the course already. Here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Bennett making his way to the carousel one last time. Your absolute beginners IndyCar League points leader is going to come across for another win here today at Mid-Ohio. Bennett with a big victory. Jamie Wilson with a great drive. Dennis Garrison going to round out your podium. Man, did he fight hard today. Led this race for a while and still will wind up with a podium. Dawson, great racing here at Mid-Ohio today as everybody's still trying to make their way in here for the finish. Just battle for 7th here. It's Sarah Dove, Liam Quinn. They've been at it all day. Sarah with one last chance here. She gonna get him out of 13. Oh, and she's around. She squeezed the throttle a little too early. That puts her in the barrier. Quinn gonna get that 7th spot. 8th gonna go to Sarah Dove. We've got a replay here. Dawson, she just pushed too hard there out of that last exit.
Yeah, it's your last opportunity. She just had to go for it. Had a good run coming up to it, just clipped it and went around.
Well, it was a good fight, and she had a lot of fun fighting with Liam Quinn today. But we're going to take a quick break here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We'll be right back with the final results here in the Absolute Beginners IndyCar League. Welcome back on the Global SimRacing Channel. You've just seen the absolute beginners IndyCar League take down Mid-Ohio. And it was a great race, folks, with our winner, Henry Bennett, our championship points leader. 2 races to go. He gets another victory on the season and increases that points lead. Jamie Wilson with a great fight there over the last dozen laps of this race and gets that second place on the podium. Dennis Garrison with a great run, had some time at the front of this race, makes a mistake that puts him down to third, but he holds on to it there at the end. Andrew Kinsella with a solid run. He'll finish just outside the podium in fourth. Richard Tam in fifth, and Andreas Eck, another driver who led laps in this race, finds his fortunes falls short. He'll finish sixth there, Dawson.
Liam Quinn and Sarah Dove going to finish 7th and 8th. They had a great battle coming to the end, and Sarah Dove getting every last bit out of that car, almost too much. And then we go one lap down, Ali Kwolka, Joshua Herman, and then Michael Herman and Timu Ronco going to round out the field.
Okay, and there we go. So that is our field. Now we've got some people finally showing up for an interview here. Let's talk to our race winner first. Here's Henry Bennett. Henry, great drive, man. Now, we saw several drivers lead this race today, a little bit of trouble, but there over the last half of the race, you really were in control. What was the key here today at Mid-Ohio?
I was just survival, really. Like you said, a couple of the other guys in the lead made small mistakes, and yeah, my strategy today was just to keep it on the road and not make any mistakes. Even if that meant staying in second or third, then I'd be fine with that rather than spinning off. And because the track conditions today were really slick, so you just had to focus really, really well to survive.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Was where I was going next. It was blistering out there on track today. What was it like trying to make those tires last over that first stint?
It's okay as long as you didn't spin up the tires at all. The rears would have been an issue if you're really pushing. So there was a lot more pace in the car, but to survive, you really wanted to look after your tires. So I was like a third of a second or more slower than I knew the car could do. But that was really just to survive. And yeah, it was really good to get the new tires after the stop, and with the shorter stint, you could really put some good laps in.
Well, Henry, you hold on to your lead in the points championship. Obviously, with 2 races to go, things looking pretty good. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Just all the guys at Powerslide. Yeah, really helpful as usual with setups and advice. So yeah.
All right. Well, listen, hey, we will see you at the next race. Thank you again for a great show today, and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and that's Henry Bennett, our winner. Going to drag Andrew Kinsella in for an interview real quick and let Dawson talk to him.
Andrew, you had a pretty decent run today. A couple mistakes here and there, but you did a great job. You got a nice finish. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, as you said, especially early, I made a couple of mistakes, got behind Liam there. That was a fun pass around the outside, though, to get back around him. And then after that, I knew I was about the same pace as Jamie, so short of him making a mistake, I wasn't going to be able to catch him. And then I pitted early trying to get the undercut, but my tires just fell off at the end there, and actually had to save a little bit of fuel, which allowed Richard to sort of come back to me a little bit. But overall, I'll take that race. It was this is a really fun track to drive in this car. So even if I'm not around people the entire race, I'm having a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, we were talking about the track conditions today, and it was definitely extremely hot. You could tell tires, all that, were wearing off a little bit more. And at a track like Mid-Ohio with the elevation changes, tight corners, was that really hard to manage?
It wasn't too bad. Our set was really, really well balanced today, so I found that I wasn't, as long as I didn't try to push too hard and just make the car do too much, the tires were lasting pretty good for me. But at the same time, you definitely had to be aware of it, and you had to take care of your tires. It wasn't something where you could just sort of go out there and abuse them and drive as hard as you could. You had to be mindful, and sort of walk a fine line between pushing too hard and not hard enough.
I'll tell you what, you walked the line today. Well, great job, and see you next week at Watkins Glen. How do you feel about that?
Watkins Glen's one of my favorite tracks, so very excited about that.
Awesome. Well, can't wait to see that here in 2 weeks. Thanks for stopping by, Andrew.
Thanks, Dawson.
All right, Sean, that's Andrew Kinsella. And who do you got next?
I'm going to talk to Richard Tam just real quick. Richard, a solid run, man. Like you just said in the chat, you survived this one today. Listen, you picked up 5 spots. You started in the top 10. You finished in the top 5. I'd say that's a pretty good race.
Yeah, it was a very good race. I haven't really raced a lot in the past while just because of work, which is why I wasn't able to make past few races. But and I also got new equipment too, so I was kind of getting used to that. So yeah, it was a lot of things that I had to kind of relearn the car, relearn the track, relearn how to drive really. So I kind of got better over the race as I kind of got back into it. So I'm really happy with the top 5. So yeah.
All right, well, Richard, I got to ask, man, you got new equipment? You want to share and tell us what you got?
Just Fanatec CSL Elite Wheel and the Formula Rim. So I upgraded from the Thrustmaster T300. So yeah, it's a huge difference. So I bought it like during week 13, so I would have more time to get used to things. So
right.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to it, but yeah, it's doing pretty good.
Awesome. Well, hey, great to chat with you. Certainly love seeing Snoopy lead the charge there on the side of the car, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the Glen.
Yes, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, Dawson, I'm going to let you talk Sarah Dove just real quick here.
All right, Sarah, we saw you talk in the chat. You spun so many times. What happened?
Just not used to it. It's been a long time since I've driven this car, and I've never driven it this track. So just pushing it a tiny bit too much, and then the car would just lazily spin, and I couldn't catch it. But other than that, I was pretty happy because it was really fun to drive on this track in this car. And the setup that Paraslide had is pretty good. I liked it. So just a shame I kept spinning.
Was the track car combination why you chose to come race over here rather than MWT?
Yeah. I thought it'd be a bit more fun than because the MX-5's like it's fun to drive, but the Road America is a bit slow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you what. Thanks for stopping by and adding another car to the car count. We appreciate it, and well, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right.
Good to have you with us today, Sarah. We'll hopefully see you next week at the Glen.
Yeah. I'll be at the Glen and Pocono for the final round.
All right, good stuff. Well, we thank Sarah for coming in for an interview. And Dawson, it's time to put a bow on this and wrap things up today here with the Absolute Beginners Indy League. We want to thank them for organizing this series and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. We also want to thank the companies, equipment, and software that you see on the screen now that we use on every broadcast we do. The original music that gives all of these broadcasts that unique flavor and feel is thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, and you can contact each of them at their info right there on screen, Dawson.
ABIL returns in 2 weeks, June 30th, as we'll stay on the road at Watkins Glen. GSRC will be there to bring you all the action. We hope that you tune in. Sliding across your screen now are some upcoming broadcasts, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about us, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at globalsimracingchannel.com. And find time to subscribe to the channel. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel.
There you go, Dawson. All right, finally. On behalf of him, the man you just heard, Dawson, Never Say Die, Brock, and our director, the great Amjad Yaman, our magnificent camera artist, Dougie Beard. I'd like to thank all of you for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle for old Buddy Soup. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and I'll see you on the track.